Have you ever thought, is there any way that our country could possibly come out of the huge debt that we're in? Legalizing marijuana could possibly get our country to slowly come out of debt, or at least help towards coming out of debt. For one, legalizing marijuana could help the United States come out of debt, like I said. Two, it's not as bad as alcohol, which it is commonly compared to. And three, it could help out in the medical industry hugely. First, on the money side of things. Currently, there are two states in the United States that have marijuana legalized for recreational use. The first being Colorado. Last year, Colorado took in $53 million in tax revenue just from selling recreational marijuana. That number is huge. The second state, being Washington, they brought in $73 million in tax revenue just from selling that recreational marijuana, and that number is even bigger. An even bigger number, they sold $257 million in total for that marijuana. That number is huge, and it's going to keep growing. Just in that can slowly bring the United States out of debt if every state would just do it. Number two, the common comparison of marijuana versus alcohol. There is going to be some health effects of both. Some short-term health effects. If you drink too much alcohol in a short amount of time, you can die. It's proven that you can't overdose and die from taking in too much marijuana. According to Ruben Baylor, a health scientist at the National Institute of Drug Abuse, he says you can die of binge drinking 5 minutes after you've been exposed to alcohol. That isn't going to happen with marijuana. He also said the impact of marijuana use is much subtler. Some long-term health effects. Drinking can lead to alcohol liver disease, which can progress to fibrosis of the liver, and it can also turn into potentially liver cancer. Baylor also said that because the drug is typically smoked, marijuana being, it can bring on bronchitis, coughing, and chronic inflammation of the air passages, which would be a downfall of recreational marijuana use. Now, in the medical industry, it could be huge. We just need to be using it. Some pros: THC has 60 active ingredients that trigger your cannabinoids in your body. And your cannabinoids, what they do is they help relieve pain. Kind of like, so you could use marijuana as like an ibuprofen or morphine. Instead of using morphine, you could use medical marijuana after surgeries. That's my opinion. It also has THC also has two FDA approved things called dronabinol and nabilone, and they could be used they cure nausea. So the huge thing is nausea after chemo for cancer patients. This one really hits me because cancer has affected my family hugely. I've had a few family members pass away from cancer, and I saw what they went through during chemo, and I feel like this could have helped a lot with their nausea. Some cons to using it in the medical industry: the THC can bind to your cannabinoid receptors, and that can affect your thinking, your memory, your coordination, time perception. This isn't huge to me because when someone's going through chemotherapy for cancer, it's not going to be a huge side effect compared to what the chemo will actually do to you. So people will ask, what do we have to do to get this legalized medically and recreationally? We just have to, we have all the facts to back it. We just have to bring it up to legislature. I know it gets brought up a lot to legislature, but it needs to be brought up more. We have the facts that it could bring us out of debt. I've given you some. We have the facts that it's better than alcohol. It's not as bad, just like I said before, because it's commonly compared to alcohol. And three, it could be huge in the medical industry. It could be used in so many different ways. So we just have to keep bringing it up to the legislature, keep bringing it up to them. In conclusion, like I said before, only 2 out of the 50 states have it legalized for recreational use, being Washington and Colorado. I think this will slowly keep growing once people start recognizing that it's not as bad. And also in the medical industry, there's only 23 out of 50 states in the United States that have it legalized for medical. I think it's crazy. We should be using it in the medical medical industry more than recreational. So I think this number will keep growing more than the recreational will, and that's a good thing because it can be used in the medical